I mean, what do you feel, speaking of, the war in Iraq and the current presidential campaign, I mean, where do you stand on what, the next move should be when the new president is in office?
Yeah, I think I want the troops home. Not only the guys like me, the guys that I know, and guys getting killed, guys losing limbs, I want them home. But the last thing I want is for our guys to come home too early and hand off to an Iraqi government or an Iraqi security force that's not capable of holding the ground that we took. Because a couple of years from now or 20 years from now, our sons will have to take the same ground we fought and died to take, and that would be a crying shame. So it's not pleasant to keep staying there any longer, but we have to make sure when we hand it off, it is a permanent handoff to a group that can maintain stability, maintain the democratic government, and be an ally right in the middle of the Middle East where we can really use it. And it's starting to happen because of the surge, because of General Petraeus, a 19th District native, proud to say.
Oh, is he?
And his county is from Cornwall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he went to Cornwall High School. And because of his leadership and really the work of tens of thousands of privates and corporals and sergeants and lieutenants, the day when our guys can come home and combat troops can be completely out of Iraq is much closer than it was a year ago. And I don't think anybody thought that was going to happen. I took a wait-and-see approach to the surge. I said we have to be successful there, but it was way above my pay grade to say that the surge was not going to work. I'm glad that it did, because we had to find something to work. So many mistakes were made. Guys like me paid for those mistakes. But we finally, very similar, I was a history teacher, so very similar to Lincoln going through McClellan and all the other generals before he found Grant. I think that's a really fair battle. We found our Grant.
Right.
And hopefully he'll retire one of these days and move back to my district and I can be his country.
Right.
That would be an honor.
All right. What do you feel, you brought back from your experience in Iraq in terms of, personal qualities that would serve your constituents well?
Well, to kind of put it in context, my opponent has said that being a congressman is the hardest job he ever had. I will work extraordinarily hard, but I don't see it being possible that could be a harder job than getting up every day in 120 degree, patrolling the streets, taking care of your guys. So I think just a real work ethic and a real discipline. I mean, it takes a lot of discipline. Obviously, getting told what to do, but personal discipline. Keep your gear clean. Keep your weapon clean. Get up. Do your best. Be, have your military bearing at all times. The discipline is important because, and I think it's a secret to my success in this campaign because we've been disciplined and methodical, and that's the way I think you get things done. Whether it's somebody has a problem, organized, disciplined, methodical approaches are what lead to success in business, in the military, in politics.
Yeah. Now, when it's that's an interesting sort of trajectory that you've been on, because going back a year, I remember Mr. Saul, right, who obviously
last man standing right here,
and he had a lot of money, and people were sort of thinking, hey, how can you compete against that? And then other local legislators, the county legislator George Eros, who was at it, and yet here you are. I mean, is it because of what you just said? You think it's your discipline?
Yes, absolutely. And determination. Because when Saul was in the race, I was seriously exploring the race. The only reason I hadn't officially announced it because I was going to have a baby in October. My first baby had health problems. When Saul was in the race, I was unofficially in the race, and nobody in the political, never mind Pete King, the local town chairman didn't really want much to do with me. And forget about it. So what I did, my father-in-law was kind of a famous police officer because he was on the job in New York City for 41 years.
Wow.
And he brought me to the Orange County Shields. It's a group of retired
here's a picture.
Cops in Orange County. And I spoke to them. So I started talking to that cops group, and that led me to talk to other groups, and it was such a disconnect. The political people were like, who does this guy think he is? But the regular people, your retired cops, your Elks Club, they were like, yeah, teacher, Marine, nice guy, you should run, And that I built that network when Saul was still in the race. When he dropped out of the race and I started to approach the political people, I already had regular people on my side.
Right.
And that's why I had the FDNY endorsement in January, which is unheard of.
Right.
Republican challengers don't get union endorsements over Democrat incumbents.
Right.
And they certainly don't get them in January. But I got it because I talked to these people and they were like, he's our guy.
Right.
So that kind of not taking no for an answer attitude, like Marine Corps page 1, it's Irish guy page 1 also. So, it's all right. I keep talking as long as she's happy.
Thank you.
So those qualities I probably had from growing up. through
Right.
college and stuff, and then they just kind of got better as I was going. What's up, Phil? Awesome.
And speaking again of your own military experience, and of course being in Iraq, now the incumbent has talked about supporting veterans' benefits, and I think the perception probably is fair to say that he's made an effort to associate himself with veterans.
Yeah. You know why that is? There's 77,000 of us in the district.
Really? 77,000?
Yes, that's tremendous.
Out of how many
like 664,000
voters?
Yeah. Which is it's 1/8 of
So you're
all
saying-
human beings. But it's like 1/6 of the electorate because kids don't vote.
Right.
So about 1/6 of the electorate are veterans. That's why there's no reason a musician who lived on this earth for 6 decades, never concerned himself with veterans, anything, all of a sudden is on a veterans committee and a chairman of the subcommittee. It's a political calculation, and veterans see through it.
So you think they do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's for general consumption. I think that's to make him look moderate. Sure, I voted against mine-resistant vehicles for Iraq. Sure, I voted to defund the troops. Sure, I'm tied to MoveOn.org. Sure, I had a fundraiser at George Soros' house. Sure, David Crosby said American troops are wantonly killing people, and I defended him and had a fundraiser with him. But I'm working hard on veterans affairs. When you push him, there's even a news article, Mid-Hudson News. We said, why are you home saying you want to immediately help with home heating oil prices when you could be in Washington working on it? And when they get pushed a little bit, they go, I'm working on veterans. I was at a veterans hospital the other day. It's a political calculation. I see through it. Veterans see through it. Everybody in the 19th district will see through it by November 4th.
Are you saying he's insincere about that?
I'm saying that his concern for the veterans issues is directly tied to his concern for re-election.
Is it another?
Another thing is, some of his the bill to modernize the application process to the VA, which had good elements in it, passed 100%. That's a great bill. He worked on it for 18 months. Good for you. He never thought to find a Senate sponsor. There's no Senate sponsor. He worked on it for 18 months. He never reached across the aisle. His party controls both houses. He never said, hey, Schumer, Hillary, anybody, why don't you have a parallel bill? That bill is not close to becoming law. The president would sign it, but there's nothing going through the Senate. It's going to take another 18 months. And if he was really concerned about outcome-based veterans policies, that's what he would have done. Instead, he's concerned about grandstanding on the issue and defending his hard left record with, I'm working hard for the veterans. That's why that's one of the reasons I got the nomination, because a non-veteran would have a tough time making that case. I've stated it as plainly as I can.